Hi, my name's Michael Favala Goldman. I'm a poet and a translator of Danish literature, and I'm speaking to you from my home here in Western Massachusetts. I'm going to read for you 3 translations that I did of the poet Marianne Koluda Hansen, a Danish poet and novelist who wrote a handful of books in the late 70s and early 80s. When she died from various health complications in 2014, one of the very last things she did was give me permission to translate her poetry, which had long been out of print. But now it's back in print in this dual language version. 20 of the poems in this book were published in various journals, and a couple of them got pushcart nominations as well. I hope that you'll enjoy her dark humor and her unique ability to put vulnerability down on the page. The first poem I'll read a little bit in Danish, and then I'll read the whole poem in English, and then I'll read 2 more in English for you. This first poem is called Frede aften I Irma. De har alle sammen nogen at komme hjem til. Jeg kan se det på deres indkøbsvogne, som buner af tryghed, samhørighed og trivsel. Nakkekamp på tilbud, hundemad og tv-guf, lørdagsslik til ungerne, 2 liter vin og bagkartofler, kæmpe økonomi og familiepakker, bleer og franske oste. Friday evening in Acme. All of them have someone to come home to. I can tell by their shopping carts that are bulging with security, belonging, and well-being, neck chops on sale, dog food and munchies, weekend candy for the kids, a half-gallon of wine and baking potatoes, giant economy and family packs, diapers and French cheeses, heavy, worn-down women with knit caps and striped bags, brand new mothers and bearded men, authoritative wives and young couples, some without coats, so you can tell there's a car waiting outside. And they all have someone to come home to. And here I come with a pint of low-fat yogurt and half a rye bread, naked as you only can be Friday evening in Acme. It is embarrassing not being loved, and all of them can see it, and they don't believe my husband is just on a trip and the kids with their grandparents for the weekend. I leave the line, grab a couple of steaks, a good bottle of wine, and a large rye bread, 3 pairs of men's socks, a dozen eggs, 2 bags of cookies, 10 condoms, 4 pacifiers, 40 diapers, a half-gallon of milk, a bottle of aftershave, and a pack of frozen unpeeled shrimp. It's going to be expensive. And then I've got to stand in line again. It's totally crazy, but it doesn't matter. Now, it's like it's easier to look people in the eye. The second poem is Anxiety. I can't sleep at night. As soon as I'm in bed, all kinds of unpleasant thoughts begin to appear in my tired head. And I become wide awake, rigid and tense, and I lie in the dark like a foreign object, indissoluble, cast out by the night. What if something happens to my kids? Or my husband leaves me? Or we get fired from our jobs and have to leave our home? Or if a war starts? Or I get cancer, like my aunt, who just had her one breast removed? And all that violence and crime and pollution you hear about, I can't bear thinking about it, but I can't stop either. The world is foreign, the dark threatening. So I go into the living room and turn on the light, have a gin and tonic, and start to make a list of all the things I'm afraid of: death, war, fire, sickness, overpopulation and robbery, bomb threats, spiders, terrorists. I'm also afraid of getting old, unattractive, helpless, fat, forgotten, lonely, cheated on, senile, laughed at. It doesn't help. I'll never be able to write down everything on the list. I can barely even think of all the things I'm afraid of. Maybe I could prioritize and only be afraid of a few select dangers and not give a damn about the rest. But what's worse, war or cancer? Senility or divorce? It might be kind of hard to choose. But I could also just take 3 things each week and change every Sunday until I had covered the whole list. But what if the house burns down during the week when I'm afraid of infidelity, break-ins, and terrorists? There I would be with the totally wrong anxiety. That would be no help at all. No, it's no use. I can't fight it. With so many dangers lurking, I might as well just go back to bed. There's nothing I can do. Things are worse than I even thought. And I'm feeling a lot better. And finally, this third poem is called Belief. When I was 9, I was lucky enough to win a postage stamp all the way from Ghana. And from that day on, I felt obligated to collect stamps, because our teacher had said that all stamp collectors should raise their hands, since we were going to draw lots for the stamp there in the class. And I raised my hand even though I wasn't a stamp collector, but I thought that if I began to collect them from now on, that must be good enough. And I actually collected stamps for years and got very interested in them, especially ones from distant countries. They were like small windows onto the big world. When I was 27, I was lucky enough to have a child. And from that day on, I felt obligated to start believing in the future, because my conscience had told me that only those who believe in the future can permit themselves to have children. And I hadn't believed in the future since 1973, when there was an oil crisis. And I lay awake night after night, fantasizing about a European ice age, when they shut off the heat, and war, and affliction, and consumption, and tuberculosis, and the specter of unemployment lurked around every street corner. But I think if I start believing in the future from today on, that must be good enough. Thanks for listening. These poems are from the book Average Neuroses by Marianne Koluda Hansen. If you're interested in a signed copy, you can write to me at hammerandhorn@gmail.com, or you can go to my website, hammerandhorn.net, where you can find lots of poetry and Danish translations. Thanks for now. See you another time.